What's going on, guys? Paul and Cody back with you with another video. Today, we're going in depth on how we fish
the drop shot.
The drop shot. Everybody fishes it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people think it's given up.
The old shake and bump. I just made it up.
Right now. Let's go. That's a dadgum ditch Panda.
The drop shot.
What is it?
What is it?
It's basically like your kid's bluegill rig.
Yep.
It's a hook tied on your line with a weight at the bottom.
Yep.
Super simple.
You can decide how far that weight needs to be from the hook. All this is however far that thing's going to be off of the
Said
ground.
bottom.
Yep. And you just sit there and bounce that thing up and down.
That's what most people do. You can drag it.
Yeah, you can drag it, you can bounce it, you can drag and bounce, you can do any damn thing you want. That's the beauty of fishing, folks.
That's true.
So many different ways to fish it.
Yeah. So let's get a little more deeper to what we're talking about here. There are so many different things now for the drop shot.
I mean,
so many different like ideas and people's thoughts on what works better, what doesn't work.
It was born on the West Coast.
Yep.
And I mean, we grew up fishing this. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't know that this wasn't a thing anywhere else in the country.
Yeah. Over on the West Coast, because we have like super deep water, like most of our lakes are pretty deep.
Yeah.
So in the wintertime, like the bass can get pretty deep if they want to.
Yeah, it's not unusual to catch fish in the wintertime out here that are 60 plus feet deep.
Yeah.
And
some people are like, what?
yeah.
Yeah. It's not.
I mean, it's that or link cod.
Yeah.
Is what we're fishing for.
Exactly.
So yeah, when you can see fish and you can change your depth finder over to fathoms.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
But that's why we have this. It's a drop shot. You can
Yeah. Well, let's start at the bottom, work our way up as far as gear.
All right.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, weights. There's any type of weights you want. These are like
Yeah, you got teardrop.
teardrop. I think they call these pineapples.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them being called
cylindricals
pineapples back in the day. I don't know.
They
if
got
they
cannonballs.
Yeah, you got.
I use whatever one has a quick clip and is cheapest.
Yeah. I mean,
some people go tungsten. I'm not gonna waste my money on tungsten drop shot weights because I bust so many of these things off.
yeah, I would pull all my hair out, but I don't have any.
Yeah.
I mean, you will spend so much money in tungsten.
The clip is really important, guys. These clip-on weights, one, because you can adjust your leader length on the fly, and two, because that weight gets hung up a bunch on rocks and stuff, and if you have the clip, you can pull this thing and it'll just pop the weight off. Everything else will come up. You don't have to retie the whole rig. You can just put another weight on. You're good to go.
I mean, if you don't have drop shot weights, a bullet weight that you tie onto the bottom with, yeah, I mean, it's...
I've done it. I've ran out of these on the boat before. All I did was I took a bullet weight, I ran it up the line, and then I tied on a swivel to stop the bullet weight from coming off. As far as like the actual weight of your weight, me and Paul were just talking about this on the water the other day. I don't care even a little bit. My drop shot weight box has got 4 different weights in it, and I don't care which one gets plugged in.
No.
I really don't.
No. I mean, I know I have 3/16. I know I have...
Well, I know what's in there.
I know I have quarter. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably all I have, but then I also have teardrop weights that I use when I really like breaking stuff off a bunch. When I just haven't broken enough drop shot weights off, I always switch over to a teardrop.
Just to really round them
humble
out.
myself.
Yeah.
Right, because those will catch on it.
Don't get hung up on what weight you're throwing. Literally. If you're fishing in deep water, if you're one of these guys over here and it's winter and you got to fish in 30 feet or more, then it matters because you don't want to sit there and wait 10 minutes for this thing to get to the bottom.
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to fish, you know.
Quarter ounce.
Or higher.
Yeah, maybe a little higher.
You might go 3/8. But as for fishing in 15 to
Also,
even 20.
wind does play a factor in that too.
Yeah.
But here's the problem.
If it's so windy that you got to worry about your weight, it is so hard to drop shot fish anyways.
Yeah, well, you should be throwing reaction.
Well, that too, maybe.
Most cases. Anyway, that's a different video. So, the only issue you're going to run into with going with a heavier weight is you're cutting down on some of your feel, I feel like.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
So, I mean, honestly, quarter ounce. That's why we don't have anything higher than quarter.
No.
If we had to throw something heavier, we would be tying on. We'd be tying on bullet weights.
Yeah, I think most of my stuff's 3/16. So, 3/16.
And split rings.
Yeah.
Because that's what they use. You tie a split ring on, or put a bullet weight on, tie a split ring. I mean, you can do all that stuff for a drop shot. It's that simple. And then you have a drop shot weight that moves, which is kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's move up to the hook. Also another debated. The weight's not debated so much as this hook is.
Yeah.
There is 100. I mean, people use 100 different type of hooks for this.
Yes.
Personally, for me, I like the 1/0 hooks. Not the number ones, not the number twos. I like 1/0s.
Yeah.
Strictly because you get a bigger gap. One problem you will have with drop shot hooking, especially if you're using like the split shot, drop shot hooks, is you get skin hooks a lot. Most of the time, it's not a problem. You can get them to the boat. Sometimes, usually when the fish is bigger and it's heavier, it doesn't like to be skin hooked. It pops off a lot. I like the 1/0s. They give you a bigger, just a bigger gap.
They're also heavier gauge too, so you can set the hook a little bit on these. Like that's what I like about it. I have a real problem with not wanting, like I set the hook on everything.
Yeah, doesn't matter what it is.
Right. I don't care what I'm throwing. I'm setting the hook, ESPN style.
Yeah.
So I need equipment that is going to back me up.
Yeah.
So I go with, heavier gauge stuff.
And I think we both go Trocar too, right?
Yeah, I have.
I've
got Gamakatsu stuff too, which is awesome.
Yeah. I like the Trocar because basically only the time you can get away from the Trocar is on the nose hook stuff because it tears up baits when you're flipping this up because it's sharpened on all sides. So, I like 1/0. Some people use a split shot hook. Some people use a number 1. Some people use a number 2. Some people use an octopus hook. I mean,
some people use red. Some people use silver and black.
Some people use black.
Why don't you rig that bad boy up?
I mean, whatever you guys got. If you're having, start with the drop shot hook. If you're having troubles with hookups and getting to the boat, go to a 1/0.
Sure.
You want to show them the nose hook first?
Yeah, it's important to see and see exactly what's going on here. You see the hook is 90 degrees and it's
up.
It's up.
It's not like this.
Right.
So
not good.
When you tie it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be like this. Sometimes it isn't, and I still don't understand why.
Yeah, that's
sometimes it's right.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like this. Right. The trick is you run this back up through your hook eye, and it straightens it out just like that.
Yep.
So there's your trick. Most people drop shot 99% of the time, it's just like this. It's just a simple nose hook, right through the middle. Boom. Most of you guys have seen it. Most of you guys are like, yeah, this is rookie stuff. But not everybody knows about this. So
yeah. Nice thing about this is it gives you the ultimate amount of action on whatever you're throwing. So you only have maybe a 1/4 inch maybe of meat, and the rest is free to move about the cabin, which is a good thing.
Now,
in open water.
Yeah, with nothing around. The next thing when talking about hooks and talking about way of rigging is like our new favorite thing ever.
Right. So, I decided I wanted to keep throwing drop shots even though there was a bunch of stuff in the way. So, I grabbed the EWG that I had, a smaller one, and I started hooking it weedless, running it weedless. Didn't realize until like 2 days later that I had a bunch of these. This is an owner cover shot in the box. So this is, specifically designed to run any of these baits weedless. So it's super simple. Basically, you want it to look, you want it to run like this, okay? And I'll show it to you. We'll show it to you right now. Super easy. Go down the middle. It's like you're hooking, you know, like anything on AWG. I mean, you know,
well, it's a round bend, so you go in at an angle.
Yeah, you go in at an angle.
Super easy. Thread that thing on.
Thread it up. It's got this little spot right here that the bait.
It's got a bait keeper,
a
good one.
Sits just like that. And then this is where people some people change it up. Okay, so you can run it hook just like this, nice and straight. There's nothing coming out. You can feel where it is, like you can feel where the point of the hook is right there. And this would be like, I mean, you can do it just like that if you really wanted to. There's no hook exposure at all, okay? That's one way to do it. The way I do it, most of the time, is I run it like this, a little exposed, and then I'll just bring it up and kind of hook it up, just like that. Either way works. I'm telling you, when they eat this thing, they eat it. And they keep it forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, they put this thing in their mouth, there's no weight. So it's just like they just keep it, right? And you can set the hook on these. You don't have to worry about, you know, real wine and hooking them. You know, you can sit back. And I mean, this is on spinning tackle. All this stuff's on spinning tackle. If you want to throw bigger stuff, you know, you can certainly throw it on bait casting stuff if you want. If you want to throw a little bit heavier weight, a little bit longer, or a little bit bigger worm, a little bit bigger hook. You want to throw it into some thick stuff. I was thinking about doing it. We never ended up doing it. I just stayed with my setup. But you can do it. It's versatile in that respect. I mean, you do what you want. There's so many different things you can do with man. I mean, you have to have this thing tied on. 12 months out of the year.
Let's talk line.
Yes.
Spinning tackle, you're going to be using braid to leader. That's super important for a drop shot.
Yeah, 99% of the time, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, 100% of the time, I think is what you should be doing. 15 to 20 pound braid to a 6 to 12 pound fluorocarbon leader, depending on your water clarity. You can get around heavier line, doesn't matter, you can get away with it. Obviously, the clearer you go, maybe you want to drop down, maybe not. Depends on how line shy your fish are. Probably not as much as you think. Up to your reel, a good, whatever your favorite spinning reel. I don't worry about trying to get a real fast one when it comes to drop shot. There's not a whole lot of times when they hit it and come at you with a drop shot. A lot of times they'll get it, and you might see your line moving across the water. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole. They don't freight train this thing very often. Not very. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about your gear ratio and your spinning rod. You don't have to worry about getting a fast one. Whatever you got will work. Now, when it comes to your rod, this is where you might want to spend your money. This is where if you're going to spend money on any rod in your arsenal, it should be your drop shot rod. Yeah. Or your finesse rod in general. If you guys aren't, you know, some of those southern lakes, I know there's not a whole lot of drop shotting going on. Sometimes there is, but you really want the most sensitive rod you can afford.
Yes.
When you're on a drop shot.
Definitely.
Because you have a weight and then a free floating bait here, they will grab this thing and you will never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, until you pick back up again. And sometimes when it's slow in the winter, you might be dead sticking this thing for 10, 15 seconds. Yeah. And this thing grab it, and he's kind of just chilling. And he might spit it again before you even know he's on. So, or he's going to gut it, and that's even worse.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, then you got a problem.
That happens to me a bunch.
Yeah, when you're not paying, you got to really pay attention when you're throwing a drop shot.
Yes, you definitely do.
And it's hard to, because sometimes when you got to soak them, when you're throwing in the winter, when you're using a drop shot for what it was intended to be used for,
yeah,
like really slow finesse style fishing in deeper water, you got to really pay attention. So the most sensitive rod you can afford is going to do great things for you when fishing the drop shot, because you will feel when they just suck this thing in, even if it's slack lined.
Right.
You can feel it. So something to think about. As far as your weight and action, medium light.
Yeah, medium
we
light
both
for
use
sure.
medium light.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go to a medium. I think medium light's perfect. 7 to 7.6, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I go pretty long on my
so-
rod because I like the ability to be able to play the fish.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, the
Yeah,
more
you
sensitive
got real
rods
light
are gonna be out
line.
there anyway.
yeah, you got light line, you got leaders, you've got weights flying around. So having a longer rod to play the fish a little better, it's always going to be in your favor.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's talk about like how people usually fish this, where they just cast this thing out and then basically dead stick it. Maybe they'll give it some shake. They're vertical fishing it a lot of the time. Most people are vertical fishing this thing.
Yeah, you can video game fish now with all
Which
the
is fun.
electronics. I mean, you can. Yeah, you're definitely a lot of people are vertical fishing.
Yeah. And I mean, your goal is, what you want is, you want this weight to sit on the bottom. And you can feel it when you're moving the weight.
Yeah.
And you can also feel when all you're moving is the bait, which is what you want. You want this thing, the weight to stay in place, and you want to just be playing with this bait.
Especially in the wintertime, or as the water cools down, the fish get more lethargic. They're going to stay in one place. They're not going to go very far to eat. They're going to be in
Especially
those
not
really
something
good.
that's small enough to be on a drop shot.
Right.
They're not going to travel.
They want something they want to expend the least amount of energy they can. So it's very important, like Cody said, when you're playing with it, that you're not pulling the weight towards you.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
So you want
You don't want to be
that,
bouncing.
Yeah, you want that thing in the strike zone, as they call it,
As
for
long
as
as
possible. So you just bring, once you feel tension, then just bring
just
it
drop
down and just do that. And believe me, that worm is moving.
Oh, yeah. You don't even have to shake it. You can just bring it up and then just let it fall.
Yeah.
Or you can just bring it up to semi-slack line and just hold it there.
Sure.
It's going to move.
So that's a good.
That's like the typical,
Yeah.
original way the book says to fish a drop shot. And then there's the way we fish drop shot.
which is completely different.
Yeah. Again,
90% of the time.
90% of the time, we basically want to drag this thing. We cover water with drop shot, which is weird.
We run the trolling motor at medium,
Yeah.
and we run bank.
With a drop shot.
Or we pick targets if there's patches of toolies or stick-ups or humps, and we know where they're at. We're running
Half the
area
time, you'll see us grabbing this weight and flipping this thing.
Yeah, we flip. I flip.
Half the time, probably.
Yeah, probably half the time.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're covering as much water with a bait that we know for sure is going to get bit. It's kind of like using a search bait. Like, you want to find active fish with a search bait, right? So you use a spinner bait, you use a rattle trap, you use a square bill, and you can quickly find fish that are willing to chase.
Right.
Well, there's certain parts of the year where we know fish aren't going to chase, or probably not going to chase.
Yeah, around the spawn.
Yeah. If we drag this, we can find the fish that just want to eat, or just willing to eat.
Yeah.
So we can cast this thing out and not pulling the weight off the bottom, drag it and work it. And you can cover a decent amount of water that way. Like Paul said, we got a trolling motor on medium, and we're covering.
Yeah, we're running
covering bank.
5 or 6, and we're just finding you're throwing at targets.
Yeah.
If you find a Tule Island or some sort of hump that's got some vegetation that's kind of out from the bank or whatever, you're doing the same thing you would do with another bait. You throw to the left of it, throw to the right of it, throw in front of it. With a cover shot, you can throw into it. And you're just kind of picking your targets, and you're doing what you need to do. Bounce it a few times, pull it towards you. All right, bring it up, put it to the next one.
Yep.
And I'm telling you,
you don't always have to soak this thing for 5 minutes.
No, definitely not.
No.
I mean, our big fish of the tournament we fished at DVL was on a drop shot.
Yeah.
And it was a little over 6 pounds.
Yep.
Big fish of Skinner, when we were there for 3 days, was 6 pounds on the dot.
Yep.
And that was
on
a drop
the nose.
shot. So, I mean, big fish eat it. It's not just like a little fish thing. That's another myth, I think.
Yeah.
And you can catch fish consistently.
Yeah.
Consistently.
The big thing is getting this in front of their face.
Right.
When they don't want to chase.
You got to make casts.
And just having that information alone, the best thing to do is make multiple casts. Yeah. Right? Get this in front of as much places as you can.
And again, so to go back to gear for a second, that being said, you want something that's well balanced, you want something that's light, and that you can play.
Yeah.
Whether you're pitching it or you want to hit an exact target, and that's generally going to come with higher end equipment.
Yeah.
Rod being the most important, in my opinion. I'm sure
Absolutely.
yours too. Spend your money on the rod. This is one of those techniques. And again, if you watched our shaky head video, you can use the same setup.
Yeah.
So this isn't a drop shot only setup.
No.
Okay. This is a finesse technique setup. You can throw. Listen, I throw finesse jigs.
Yeah, on the same rod
setup.
Yeah.
I don't change anything. Zero. So that being said, spend more money on the rod.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity, if you can, spend more money on it.
Yeah.
And we'll put some of our favorites down below. You don't have to spend $500 or $600 if you don't want to. If you can't, there's plenty of excellent rods in.
Yeah. You'll see down below. The Dobbins Fury line has a perfectly acceptable rod for this, and you're still going to catch a bunch of fish.
Yeah.
So.
And it's still sensitive.
Yeah.
So.
Let's talk baits for a second. We touched on it a little bit. Some of our favorites, the Zoom Swamp Crawler. It's a flat-sided worm. It's awesome. You guys know we love Robo worms. This is Paul's favorite color. This is the 6-inch fat margarita mutilator.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean,
it's awesome.
You know, Aaron's Magic's another good one.
This is the 4.5-inch Robo worm. That's a blue crawler, which is basically Aaron's Magic.
Yeah, that's pretty close to Aaron's Magic, yeah.
These are the KVDs. These are the Dream Shots.
Dream Shots are awesome baits.
These are perfect.
They're similar to
the
Biospawn. The Biospawn has a really small midsection to their tail.
Yeah.
I dig that.
And then those are the Plasma Tails by Biospawn.
Yeah, these things are sweet.
There are a million different drop shot baits in the market.
And they all work.
You can use the Zoom Original Trick Worm. I do that a bunch.
Yeah.
Another thing that most people don't do is rig Wacky Worm when they're fishing.
Yeah, I stopped doing that a long time ago.
When they fish drop shot, you can absolutely take this Zoom Swamp Crawler and put it on this way. Flat side down. There is no problem with that at all. And it's just a different presentation. They're not used to seeing something rigged like that on that kind of equipment, and it gets bit.
Yeah.
That's something that we do a lot. We used to do a lot. We started doing, getting into the cover shot a little bit more and flipping, punching with a drop shot, and it kind of changed up a little bit. But if you're
keep going, sorry.
But if you're fishing an open hook, absolutely try to wacky rig something.
Yeah. In the fall, I throw my worms in the center and I pull out swim baits.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. If you've ever been freight trained on a swim bait with spinning tackle on a drop shot, it is something different.
Yeah.
These fish go bananas for swim baits because they're chasing shad. They're chasing shiners. It's really, really interesting. So put your worms away, grab like Keitech Easy Shiner, Demiki Armor Shad. That's a really good one too. It's got that split tail. Strike King makes one also that's very similar. We'll put all that stuff down in the video description as well.
Jackal Glossy Shad.
Glossy, well, they don't make that anymore. He's very sad about that.
If you guys have any, hit me up. I'll buy them from you.
Or the original Fat Swing Impact Keitech work really well in like a 2.8 all the way to a 3.8.
The original Swing Impacts, not the fats.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I've thrown fat. I throw them on fats.
Yeah, you can throw the fats.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a little ridiculous, but whatever you got, it works.
Listen, just do something different.
Yep.
Do something different. And the swim bait deal in the fall is the deal.
Yep.
I'm telling you, if you guys haven't done it, you need to try it.
Absolutely.
Because you will you will be amazed how many fish you're going to catch.
Yep.
So.
If we miss anything, let us know in the comments. Let us know what baits you guys like to fish, what rods you guys are fishing on, what reels you guys are fishing on.
Don't forget the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe if you haven't done so already.
And hit that little bell right there.
Let us be annoying. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Your wife be yelling at you at dinner. You'd be like, yeah, but Cody and Paul just posted another video about drop shots.
Yeah. I mean,
it's important.
Doesn't get any better than that.
I know, seriously.
Sit down with a TV tray.
Yeah.
Like you're in the 50s.
Like in the 50s.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Speaking of eating, if you're looking for beef jerky, Bagabull.com, at Bagabull on Instagram. Use code DP10. Get you 10% off at checkout. Try all 6 of their flavors. The best beef jerky in the universe. We're not lying to you guys. Try it. You'll believe us then.
Awesome.
Orders over $50, you get free shipping. Doesn't get any better than that.
No. All 6 flavors. Dynamite. Try them all.
They're all dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Careful with that ghost pepper one, though. It'll sneak up on you.
Gotta be real careful about that one.
Careful about that one.
It's awesome, though.
On that note, we're out. We'll see you next time, guys.
See ya.